Now
Okay.
you're good.
Now I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the brains. Well, really back here is the brains. That Mac Mini. So everything
Okay.
runs on that Mac Mini. Yeah, I mean the only things really plugged into there is like monitors and USB hubs and whatnot. So essentially everything goes into there. But I use Logic. So I've got Logic here pulled up right now. These are Kali Audio. These are 6.5 inch. So they're just a nice medium size speaker. And then I have these smaller speakers when kind of want to refer to other stuff like how does it sound on smaller speakers or whatnot. But this is a little MIDI keyboard. So it's just nice to have right in front of me if I want to come up with like little ideas. That's just USB right into the computer. Then Logic already knows what's going on. So, well, I say that's the brains, but really that's the brains down there. This is kind of where, between these two areas, everything is connected. So these two things right here, these are my audio interfaces. So essentially what that does is that allows me to plug a microphone into it, and that microphone gets converted, that signal gets converted into like little ones and zeros that the computer can understand as audio. So that's all that does. And let's see, these are two 8-channel interfaces that are daisy chained together. So it makes 16. That's why I have this second one labeled 9 through 16 rather than 1 through 8. And then, so down here, this is my 500 series rack. So these interfaces, they have what's called preamplifiers, which a microphone, if you just plug in a microphone, it's super, super quiet. You can't even hear it. You have to turn up the gain so that you can actually hear the microphone signal. So you can do that here, which is the preamplifier built into the interface, which sounds good. It sounds perfectly fine. But you can also use these external preamps that are just dedicated preamplifiers that have some couple extra features if you don't, because this is just one knob and boom, you're done. If you turn them up too hot, they're a little bit noisy, so you get some like weird hum. And so I think for things that I want to be really clear, I don't want that hum, so I go through these external preamplifiers, which are a lot cleaner in signal, so you can turn them up a lot louder before you get that hum. So essentially, this is how this works. That box over there on the ground where the microphones are plugged into, that's where I plug in my microphones. There's a big cable that goes along the wall and around, which goes into these guys right here. These are my Samson patch bass. So this, have you ever seen old videos of, what are they called? They're like the operators. And you call, and then they're like, patch me to this person, patch me to that person. It's the same technology. It's essentially one of the last uses of this technology is recording studios. Everything else has gone away with it. But recording studios use this technology still. So that's really all it is. So the wires from there go into here. And I essentially plug everything into here. So rather than anything going directly to the computer or a microphone going directly into the interface, all of these different pieces of equipment are into these little slots in here. And I can take these cables and I can tell this whole thing, okay, if I have something plugged into channel 1 on that little box, that's here. So I can take that signal, and now that's now on the tip of this cable. So I can now take this and put that anywhere I want. So if I want it to go to this guy right here, if something's already plugged into it, but it would be in 2 down here, and then I would take it and I'd put it, I can just move it around wherever I want. So this is like, they're all, I mean, I keep saying these are the brains, but they're all really the brain. So that's how that works. Everything's connected into these patch bays that I can then move around however I want. That's how I have my headphone hearback system set up. Taking outputs of the interface and I'm putting it into the inputs of the headphone like little boxes that I'll show you later. So it's really just like a bunch of, it just looks a lot fancier than it is. It's very utilitarian, if that's the word. This converts analog signal, which is microphones, guitars, anything. It converts it into digital ones and zeros. If I want it to sound a little bit better, I'll first put it through one of these things before I put it through this thing. And if I want to put it through 2 of these, I'll use a patch cable and I'll send it from here into here and then back into here. So it's just a way of me routing audio the way I want. So everything is connected into these, which makes life a lot easier. And then we have just little fun stuff like this old PV stereo mixer. It sounds really bad, but in a really good way.
Yeah.
That I like, you know, and it's got, so if you open this up, there's nothing in there except a big spring. That's it. All the actual electronics are like built into the backside of this plate right here, but the whole vault, like the whole depth of this is completely empty. Why they only made it this big so you can see it. They tilted it up, but there's nothing really in there except a big spring, which is reverb. So when you send audio into it, you can control how much of that audio gets run through this spring, and then it comes out reverby. That's it. I use it as a reverb box. It's one big reverb. And also you can send signal to it, and it's got what's called output transformers built in here, which is, it's older technology, but they still use it. And when you run audio through it, if you run it really, really hot, you distort it. And it's different than distorting it in the computer. Distorting something in the computer is not super good because the computer it's just using data, and then distortion just means we don't understand this anymore. So it just gives you nothing. But here, distortion in the old mixer, it doesn't exactly do that. It just crunches it up like a guitar, kind of like distortion. So it gives you something crummier back. So it's a little bit different than the digital distortion. So it actually can sound a little bit cooler. But this is kind of just like a big reverb distortion box. That's all it is. I wouldn't use it for anything that I want to sound good.
Okay.
Yeah. These are my tape machines. Those are the 3 that I have right now.
Do you know like how old they are? Like.
Yeah. So this is a Wollensak T1515. It's the stereo version of the 1500, which was a mono version. This is 1959, I think. And these are both 50s. So this is a Ampex 601. This is mono. So while this can play back stereo recordings, this can only do single channel mono recordings. This is, I believe, from 1958. It was originally designed to be portable, so it has a little handlebar there. But so this is technically considered professional, but by 1958 standards.
Yeah.
So, you know, sounds like garbage, but it's cool. What I like about these, and maybe I can fire one up to show you kind of how these things work. They distort really quickly, and you can mess around with tape speed and stuff, so you can slow things down, speed things up. It's just a lot more fun to use these. And yeah, I might plug one in and show you how that works. And this I got this at a thrift store for like $7.
Oh my gosh.
And it's an old cassette recorder, and you used it, you know, to like record just whatever. I mean, usually something like this, probably like an interview, like, you know, very, very just wasn't supposed to be used in a studio ever, but if you play stuff back on it, it can sound really weird and interesting. I don't know what that was, but it just makes things sound really weird. See that wobble?
That's cool though.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. That was an artist who actually recorded here. I was just kind of playing around with busting out the tape. So yeah, it's like I can't really get that in my computer, you know. So when I want that sound of like, it sounds good in the computer, but I want it to sound worse. So I'm gonna send it out to here. And then this is really nice to have. It's a acoustic panel on wheels, so it's really fun. I can move it around anywhere I want, make things a little bit more easier to work with in a smaller room, you know. All these panels I built, it's just like 2x4s and Rockwell insulation. I wrapped them in fabric. The drum mic setup, pretty simple. I mean, first of all, the drums, it's a DW kit, Gretsch snare. This Crash Ride is totally broken.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
But it sounds cool because it's broken. And I like how broken it sounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard, like drum mics. You'll see this, especially. I mean, not the toms. The toms you really wouldn't see people miking it this way. I actually kind of like how it sounds. Some people will come in here and be like, "Dude, what are you doing with these?" I'm like, "Just listen."
Just trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
But yeah, pretty simple, basic Beta 52A there. And then this guy, so this is like, oh, I unscrewed it. This is like the older version of this. So this is a Unidyne, what is it, 5.4? This is a 545L. This is a Shure SM57. Everyone's seen one of these. But this is an older version of this, and it sounds very similar. It's just a little bit darker, a little bit darker.
Did you pick it purposely for the snare?
Yeah, I wanted it for the snare because I personally like darker sounding snares. I don't like super sharp, crackly sounding snares. Some people do. Some people really only want that sound. I like the more kind of 70s funk, just thick, thumpy snare. And that does a pretty good job at helping you get there, you know? The snare matters probably more. So then these are the headphone earback systems, what I was talking about earlier. So this little cable goes into that patch bay and comes out into here. So then I can take out anything that's coming out of the Logic and I can send it into here so that when somebody plugs their headphones in, they can turn it up and they can hear it when they're over here and I'm over there.
Okay.
So that's essentially how that works. It's super cheap, super simple. You plug in 4 headphones and then each of these goes to one of those headphones. I mean, it's just turn the knob up, you will hear sound. You know, I like to keep it simple because a lot of people that come in here, they've never used the hearback system before. So it's you know, it's a lot easier that way, just having things one knob. And yeah, this makes life a lot easier. If I didn't have this, I'd have to crawl under that desk and plug all the microphones into the interface. But now I can plug it in here, and this cable goes around and does that for me. which is nice. This is a Kimball upright piano. I don't know too much about it. I mean, it sounds okay. Not really. It sounds pretty out of tune, but
Just how I like it.
Yeah.
yeah. But it works, and I like it. You know. Then these are really nice to have because, again, space is a problem here. So I don't want mic stands just kind of hanging and drooping over everyone. So I got these attachable ones, and I clamped them onto the piano. And then, I mean, these, I've had these for a while. They're super, they're not, I mean, they're not the best, but I know what they sound like at this point, because every mic kind of has its own character. So if you know what it sounds like, you know how to work around it. But yeah, these were, I had these for a while. These were super cheap, just PreSonus PM2 small diaphragm condensers. Wow, wow. And then I keep those. I just kind of keep these here. Just like, I like to have everything set up and plugged in so I can just hit the record button and
Get to work.
yeah. Because somebody will come in here and go, we'll be working on something, and then out of nowhere they'll just go, I want piano on this. And I'm like, okay, we have not that much time left, so I can't set up all the piano stuff. So it's just got to be set up so that I can walk over to the piano, hit play,
Start
and then
going.
start playing. Right? So it's like, save people time. Because, again, we don't always work with like crazy budgets, so I can't waste anybody's time. You know what I mean? And then Stratocaster, always fun. This is like the workhorse amp. A lot of people will just go through this because they either don't feel like bringing their amp, or they don't have an amp, or they just want to go through it. I think it sounds great. It's a, what is it, 25? I think it's 25 or 15 watt, I can't remember. Tube amp. So when it turns on, you gotta kind of wait a minute before you can hear anything, which is fun. And it's actually been modded, so it doesn't really sound like anybody else's Blues Junior. The speaker's been replaced. All the EQs on the top have been modded. So essentially a true bypass mod. So if you take all them out, you actually won't hear anything, rather than a stock one, you'll still hear sound. So it's like, okay, you're telling me I have zero treble, but why do I still hear it? So this way you can actually get rid of everything and shape it exactly how you want. Let me see. So I kind of have to like fit things anywhere I can fit them. I mean, I have all my XLR cables. I should probably put these in a better spot, but I got my XLR cables in this bucket. I got my headphones in this bucket. I have this old metronome. Go. And it does a little ding when you're on the one. This was my mom's when she was learning piano as a kid.
Oh.
And let's see, I got more guitars over here. This is,
How do I zoom out on this?
what is this?
For some reason.
Oh, okay.
February. I like these old guitars. They tell you exactly when they were made. February 15, 1980. This is a copy of a Martin guitar. It's an old Takamine. So they got sued because they were copying Martin.
Oh.
And so they had to stop doing that. But this is before they got sued. So it sounds okay. And vinyl records in here.
Tyvek.
Shout out Tyvek.
Yeah, we've seen them.
Oh, uh-oh.
I'll give them that.
Break their record really quick.
Oh well. Yeah, more guitars here. It's just a standard bass, like just sounds like a bass. It's not. I could dive into different types of basses and get stuff that are really weird and obscure, but usually I just want a bass. So what is this?
So
Just
real.
a P bass. Yeah, just a Fender P bass. When you think of bass, that's what you're probably thinking of. This old classical guitar that my teacher gave to me because I didn't have a guitar. Probably not on purpose. I think they probably just forgot they gave it to me. And I just never said anything, so it's mine now.
They're still looking for this
They're
guitar.
still looking for it, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll never find it. And then in here is just like a lot of storage. Some cameras up there, which is fun. This is actually my cassette cupboard.
Oh.
I keep all my cassettes in here. That if it runs out on the machine, I can come in here and grab another one. So that's fun. These are some more panels. This is kind of what the panels look like before you wrap them. I'm still working on more panels because I always want more panels. But yeah, and then this was actually one of the older original gray panels. This is the gray that it was before it went to black.
Yeah. Because bees aren't gray.
Yeah, because no gray on these.
You got nothing gray.
And, I gotta clean this part up. It's messy, but why don't they have a walkway? Usually this isn't here.
Yeah. Your music typewriter.
Yeah, my music typewriter. Here, if I can fit, here are my microphones. So let's see. Oh, this is one of my favorite microphones. Lawton Audio. Oh, this way. Lawton Audio. This is nice. I like everything with tubes in it, so this is a tube mic. I use it on everything when I can, if I can. I think it sounds great. Got the high pass on it right now. Or no, that was the low pass. Yeah, it sounds really nice. Sometimes it's kind of goofy to use because you got to hook it up to an external power supply and you got to power that on so it can power this. And so it can be, it's not as quick because then you got to wait like 10 minutes for the mic to start working. So it's like, it's not as quick, but when somebody's coming in here and I know they're coming in here, I'll already have those things set up so that we don't have to wait. But yeah, this sounds really, really good. I use this, actually on all the live sessions, I use this as the drum overhead. So it sits above the drummer because the cymbals can be kind of harsh on certain microphones and they can sound not super nice. But since this is a tube mic, it kind of rounds off those harshness that other mics will have, which is always good. It's just a standard cardioid, so it only looks at what's in front of it. Let's put that in there for now. I've got no space back here. What's here? This is what I use on a lot of the guitar recordings for the live sessions, especially. Not so much when we're recording just traditional studio sessions, but this is really convenient to have on the live sessions. You'll usually see this at any live venue. They'll put this on the guitar. And I only did that because I do live sound. So I just kind of treat the live sessions like I'm miking a band at a venue. I know I've got another weird one. Yeah. I don't remember what this one is called. It's an Electro Voice 660. So this is from sometime in the 60s. It's a lot heavier than all my other microphones. It's just like solid metal. So it's more like a weapon than a microphone.
I was gonna say it's a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst comes, they don't pay you for your recording.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is cool. It sounds really bad, but I like it.
In the good way.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Sometimes it just sounds bad in a bad way, and then I don't use it. But when I want it to kind of sound like, I don't know, if you touch it, it starts buzzing, so you can't touch it. It's very pretentious. So I'll just put that away. But like, you know, they're all just kind of different flavors to me. Like when I need them. And that's a Warm Audio not Fat 47. That's the 47 Junior. Yeah, they're all just pretty. And then I have all like, you gotta have. I usually don't have this typewriter here. Can't even move. All these just standard. I actually use this for all the vocals on the live sessions. It's the same thing as this. This is the older one, or the weirder one with the switch on it. SM58, everyone's seen one of these. This is the same thing, but what it listens to is a little bit narrower. So, like, it's going to ignore the drums a little bit better than it will anything else. So it's a lot easier to mix because, you know, when I turn up the vocals, I don't want to also turn up the drums. So this is convenient to have. But, yeah, these are just, you got to have these. You got to have a bunch of these in the studio. Oh, here's another. This is another Unidyne 5. This is a 545 SD, which is just the version with the switch on it, which is really annoying because we'll set everything up and I'll be like, why can't I hear anything from that mic? And it's usually
The
because
switch
it's
is
switched off. So I gotta remember, always have that on. But this is nice. This is the same thing as just an SM57, but it just sounds darker. There's less high frequencies in it, so I like my recordings to sound a bit darker when I can. Sometimes the artist doesn't like that, so I won't do it. But if they don't tell me anything, I assume they like it.
Just do what you want, yeah.
Yeah. You know. In here I just keep all like my stands and stuff, and I have some cables just hanging here when I need them. Oh, this is a fun one. This is a ribbon microphone. What is this? This is the Golden Age R1 Active MK3. Yeah, so this sounds really, really dark. You record through this and it automatically sounds older and lo-fi-ish, you know. This is especially nice on things that are inherently too bright and too harsh sounding, like an electric guitar can be really abrasive. So if you put one of these on it, it can't even really, it just doesn't give back high frequencies as much. It gives back, yeah, it uses a ribbon inside of it. So it's like one of the older technologies for microphones. There's a very thin metal strip that's like much thinner than a human hair that's in here, and it vibrates, goes back and forth, which sends electrical current down and goes in to wherever it goes. But it's a very sensitive microphone, so if I like blew into it really hard, I'd break it.
Oh.
And so that's why I always have to keep it upside down, right side up, so that, because if I keep it like this, the ribbon will start to bow. So it's bidirectional. Most ribbons are bidirectional, so it listens to the front and the back, because both sides of the ribbon are the same, so it's going to listen to both sides. So you got to know kind of how to use it. They just if something sounds too harsh, rather than trying to fix it later, you can just put one of these in front of it, and it'll most of the time kind of fix it. You know, so it's nice to have. Again, I use it. Oh, it's my dog. Again, I use it on.
Getting features from everybody.
Yeah, exactly. This house is never quiet, which is really hard to record in. Usually, it's not that loud either.
Yeah, come record with him. It's never quiet.
Yeah, it's good advertisement. It's never quiet. Yeah, it's true. We're always recording.
What's this mystery white powder?
Yeah, what? In the paper bowl. In your recording room.
So yeah, that's the. That's why all the recording sounds so good. So, a lot of the stuff I buy is used and can be really old or just, it's used, so I don't know where exactly it comes from. And sometimes you get unlucky, and people who've owned it, they are chronic smokers. So you'll bring something in and it just smells like cigarettes.
It's brown.
Yeah. And so when I first got that box on the ground where I plug all the cables into, I got it from, a guy in a trailer park, and he was just a smoker. and he smoked inside, and that was sitting right there, and it was for years. So it just smelled so bad. So when I brought it, because this room doesn't smell like cigarettes, I hope not. And so when I brought it in, it was immediately like everything started smelling like cigarettes, and I was like, God dang it. So I read online that if you put baking soda in a bowl or something and just sit it next to whatever smells like cigarettes and just let it sit there for like a week, it'll soak it up and it'll go away. And it works, I guess, because I don't really smell the cigarettes anymore.
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
smell
Yeah.
cigarettes.
So that's why I keep it. I probably should get rid of it now. But,
That's the
Just
cigarette baking soda.
re-releasing the
Yeah.
cigarettes
Yeah.
back
yeah,
in
exactly,
here.
exactly. And then here's just some extra reels for the reel-to-reel. Those old tape machines. Which
Is it hard to
fun.
source that?
No,
No.
it's not hard to source. They still make new ones,
Okay.
which is interesting because there was kind of a resurgence in tape. But usually the point of, for me, not everybody agrees, but for me the point of tape is I want it to come back sounding worse, right? A lot of people use tape. If you use the high quality tape machines with new tape, it'll come back sounding better. It'll come back sounding much clearer and more defined. But I'm using 50s tape machines that were made for like public schools on old reels that are probably disintegrated. I don't want it to come back
Better.
good.
Yeah.
I want it to come back worse because that's the point to me. So let me see. Oh, this is actually a fun one. So this is the microphone that came with one of those old reel-to-reel tape machines.
Oh my gosh.
It's just that little white one.
Do you ever use it or no?
Yeah, so sometimes I'll have, people just play the piano and I'll just hold it next to it and we'll get it in there and it'll be like kind of a cool intro sound of like very just lo-fi. I don't even need to put that onto tape. You can just record with that microphone and it sounds really lo-fi already. Let's see, so this is, that's fine. So let's go power up one of those tape machines. We can see how that works because it's always fun to do. Any chance I get to use one of these things, because you gotta keep using them to keep them working, but if you use it too much, they break.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Delicate.
You gotta find the balance. Yeah.
Exactly. So, this is also a tube machine, so when you turn it on, the fan turns on, it's gotta cool itself, and the light inside there goes on, which is nice. Let me see, I usually keep it on balanced tone. I don't know what's on, this is not an original recording, I think this is just like an old song or whatever, so if I played it, it might be, I don't know how the copyrights work, so
Well,
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna play
know.
it. But what I,
I mean-
usually use, where is it? I need a cable. What I usually use that tape machine for specifically, not actually the tape. I mean, I do use it for the tape, but if you plug a guitar into it instead of a microphone, put it back there. You can kind of use it as an amp. So I'll just switch it on to that setting. Which setting I gotta switch it on to?